What's good, guys? So in this video we are going to talk about 10 profitable and easy app ideas that you can easily code with no code. And these are proven app ideas that already exist. It's just we're going to be talking about different ones that you can implement in different niches with different techniques, and that way you can capture the market and make money because this idea is already proven to a certain extent. Now, also for each of these ideas, I'm going to be showing you the ways that you can architect, develop, and finally launch this app. So I'm going to be with you every single step of the way. But before we get started, if you like no-code development, if you want to learn how to build any app without writing a single line of code, definitely make sure you hit this video with a fat like, leave a comment to let me know what you think about this video. I don't care if you liked it or you didn't like it, any feedback is welcome. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any future videos that will help you on your no-code journey. Now, having said all that, let's get started. So the first idea is going to be Uber 4X. So Uber, as you are well aware, is a car hailing service. It basically replaced taxis in lots of countries around the world and made the whole process a lot easier. I don't know about you, but I use Uber or Uber clones, basically other companies that operate as Uber all the time in all kinds of different countries. So regardless which country I'm in, which city I'm in, I use Uber all the time. It's super, super easy and very, very convenient. And so if you go into your search engine and you type something like Uber 4, you're going to see different results. You have Uber for kids, Uber for restaurant, and we're going to get that to that in a second. Uber for seniors, Uber for 6-passenger, restaurant owners. So there's all kinds of different ideas. And the thing about Uber, what you have to understand is, let me show you how it works, right? Uber is essentially a system that connects two different markets. Okay, so for instance, we have here one market, and this would be like, let's say, client customers. Okay, and a customer, they need a service to be made, and then on the other side we have the service providers. Okay, and so this would be something like drivers, delivery people, depending on the kind of service you're in. And Uber is essentially here, right? So I have another kind of diagram. Uber is here. Right, essentially what it's doing is that it's facilitating the market of the different customers that need a service and the service providers that are able to provide that service. So Uber is anything, right? Uber, it could be a way for customers to get rides. It could be a way to get deliveries of products, and these people would not be drivers, they would be kind of delivery men or women. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. And so the way you can focus here is that there are three main ways that you can kind of focus here, right? The first way is that you can focus on a niche, meaning like you can just keep the same idea, Uber, but you can do it Uber for seniors, Uber for visually impaired, Uber for maybe handicapped in some way, Uber for kids, right? Uber for women, right? Make it safer for women. There's all kinds of ways you can do that. So this would be like going in a specific niche. Now, the second way that you can focus is that you can create Uber how it is already, right? So for everybody, right? Without going into a separate niche, and use it as a service and give it to various companies, right? You can build this Uber out and then you can license the software as a platform. So this would kind of be like if Uber actually, white labeled their product and allowed other taxi companies and other, taxi-based car service companies to actually use the product. So Uber does not do that, but you can, right? So you can create an Uber clone, and instead of actually, using, creating an Uber competitor, you can white label, basically license this product to all kinds of taxi companies. Okay. Now, the third method is that you can go in a completely different direction and use it in a form of delivery, right? So right now, if you think about Uber, it's for me to get driven. But instead of me being the one who is actually going to be driven, It could be a product. It could be maybe food. It could be drinks. It could be groceries. It could be, packages, all kinds of things that you can do. So it's the same Uber, except it's no longer driving passengers. It's driving, so to speak, or delivering something else. So it's the exactly same architecture. Everything is the same, except in this place, you can kind of pick how you want to optimize this, how you want to implement this. And the tools you're going to be using here is you're going to be using Bubble. You can do, build an app using Bubble. You can use Appgyver, or you can, go the mobile route and use something like Adalo for building a prototype, okay? So I actually have a video on my channel, you can just search for it, where I show you how to create an Uber clone in Bubble. So you can search on my channel and you can see exactly how I did it. Now remember guys, the problem here is not technical. The problem, this is a business problem. So make sure that 70 to 80% of your energy is going to be focused on the business problem, not on the technical, because the technical is taken care of. That is why we have NoCode, which is synonymous for, taking care of any kind of technical problems. Those things are solved already, right? This is no longer the 2000s or the 90s, with the evolvement of the internet and the World Wide Web. We have those problems under control, which is why you should be focusing on the business side, all right? So that's number one. Number two is Airbnb for X, okay? So if I go back to our trusty search engine and I type Airbnb for X, we have a lot of results. Airbnb for cars, Airbnb for camping, Airbnb for car rentals. Okay, you guys get the idea. And so let's talk about what Airbnb is, okay? I have a customer here, right? So this is a customer. So for instance, like me, and I want to rent an apartment, right? And there's somebody else, and they're kind of the property owner, right? So let's say they own an apartment, or they're subleasing it, or they have access to an apartment. They're able to rent it to me, okay? That's the idea. We're not selling anything. We are renting. And Airbnb is actually part of the sharing economy, which means is that the idea here is that I am, as the property owner, is renting out a piece of my existing property. Now, that was the initial idea. Later on, it became just like a regular rental service. So, for instance, I can, buy an apartment, I can rent it out. Or I could sublease an apartment and I can rent it out. I don't need to actually own it, right? But it started out as a way for people to make extra money from real estate they weren't using, right? So that's kind of the idea. And that's what Airbnb is all about. It's really about taking something that you own and monetizing it, right? So I'm the property owner. Let's say I have an apartment here, apartment one, and it's fully booked. Like I have my family living there. I cannot rent out a room, but I have another apartment, right? Or maybe a guest room in this apartment. So this would be a house here. So I cannot rent the house, but I can rent out the guest room, right? So I can create a relationship to the customer, and the customer has a relationship to me, right? So I can rent out this guest room because nobody's living there. And it's a way for me to make money. It's a way for me to make extra money. Now, you don't need to go out and build an Airbnb clone, okay? You need to start thinking about how you can build an app for a certain asset that could be monetized. So you have an apartment and you have a spare room. That's already being monetized using Airbnb. But maybe you have a car and you can rent out that car on weekends when you're not using it, or during the week when you're working, etc., etc. Or maybe you have another car that you're not using at all, maybe like a weekend car. You can rent that out. That is an idea for what Airbnb for cars, Airbnb for rentals, for etc., right? So for instance, if I have cars, I have parties, boats, events, right? Same thing for a boat, right? I have a boat, I can rent it out. It's an asset. It's like an apartment. It could be Airbnb for offices. Let's say I have a house and I have a separate room. It's kind of an office, right? So let's say I have something like this. It's an office room and I'm not using it. I'm not using it because I have another office room, or I'm not working right now, whatever the reason is. I can monetize this, right? So for instance, We can create a relationship here, right? And we can create a relationship back. Okay, so I'm monetizing the office room and the guest room. So I'm getting paid a monthly fee here and a monthly or daily fee, daily rate here, and a daily rate here. Okay, this is different than Uber because Uber is about delivering something. It's about delivering you or delivering an object. Airbnb, on the other hand, is about monetizing an existing asset. So whether you have a car, you have a house, you have an office room, maybe you have a bike, maybe you have a scooter, maybe you have a laptop, a camera, right? Airbnb for cameras. It doesn't need to be a living, a kind of a dwelling where people live. It does not need to be that. It could be an asset, maybe cameras. Cameras are actually a good idea because a lot of high-end camera equipment is very, very pricey, right? Cameras can cost upwards of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and more. Sky's the limit, really. And so if you have a shoot, maybe a wedding, a graduation, or some kind of a professional shoot, it doesn't make a lot of sense to buy the camera when you can essentially rent it out for the day. So it could be something like Airbnb for cameras. It's a good idea. Scooters, bikes, electric bikes, mopeds, exotic cars, you name it. The options are endless. And the way I would build this, I would obviously either do it in Bubble as a kind of a web app, or I would build a prototype using Adalo, okay? You can search my channel. I've created a bunch of tutorials when it comes to building like an Airbnb clone. You can search my channel. You can find it. Honestly, I would probably start it with Adalo because Adalo just makes things super, super easy. But later on, if I need to build something a lot more complex, I would just move on to Bubble. Next, let's talk about a job board for X. Okay, so what is a job board? So a job board, let's make it more specific. A place where you can hire somebody by the hour. So like freelancers. So something like Upwork, something like freelancer.com, any of those sites. What you want to do is you want to focus on a niche. A job board for plumbers, a job board for digital marketers, a job board for subcontractors, right? For house builders, right? That is the idea that you want to be thinking about. So what we have here, we kind of have a same situation. Well, it's very similar to kind of what we talked about before, but there are important differences. You have a customer. So that would be something like me. You have a service provider, okay? And the idea here is that you're going to create a marketplace. So this would be you creating a marketplace. Now, the way this works is that we're not monetizing a certain asset. We're also not doing deliver anything, but we're actually hiring this person directly. Okay, so we're not monetizing something they have. We're actually monetizing their time, right? So it becomes this direct relationship. It looks something like this. We pay them and they come over to our house or our office and they do the work. They contract the work. Now, this could be online work. This could be physical work, in-person work. It's up to you. You can create it for digital people, digital entrepreneurs, programmers, graphic designers, stuff like that. Or you can actually create it for somebody who does physical work, such as people that build a house, roofers, plumbers, maybe service, carpenters, stuff like that, contractors, stuff like that. So it's really up to you. The idea is the same. We are actually renting a person by the hour. So regardless if they come over to our house or if they do it online, it's the same idea exactly. Number 4 is a CRM app. Okay, so what exactly is CRM? CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And essentially, it's a way for businesses to keep track of clients, to keep track where the client is. Because if you think about what a business does, if a business is dealing with customers, meaning it's a B2B, business-to-business business model, they need to keep track of where they are with the customer. So for instance, if I'm a lawyer and I have a lead, somebody is interested in having me perform all kinds of various legal services, some specific legal services. So initially contact them, they come over and I give them a free consultation. And after that, if they want a paid service, they have to pay. So the way a CRM works, right, is that we have a customer, we have a person, okay? And this person moves along various stages. So for instance, this is me. So for instance, let's say I am a client, okay, and a lawyer is, and I need law services. I come over to a lawyer, right? So I come over to a lawyer, and this is kind of the lawyer here, and I have a free consultation. So instead of like me being the lawyer, I'm the customer. I need legal services. Maybe I want to form a company. Maybe I need some accounting done. Maybe I need a new company formed in a different country, right? I always need kind of legal services for that. And from a lawyer's perspective, I am not a customer yet. I'm just a lead. Okay, I am a lead. We get that consultation, but I'm still a lead. Now, let's say I copy this and I decide that I want to do I want to do the service, I want to pay it. At that point, I become a customer. Okay, so once I pay, once I decide, okay, I got my free consultation, I want to go forward, I become a customer. Now, what a CRM does is it's customer relationship management. It's a way for a lawyer to keep track of different customers as they move. So if I came for, a single a consultation, I just stayed in one. I'm a lead, I'm not a customer. And so maybe as a lawyer needs to contact that lead and say, hey, we met up a week ago. Did you have time to think about, going forward with that, right? That's what, a business would usually do. It would send kind of an email or call and see where they are, right? Prod the customer or the lead a little bit to see if the lead is going to go forward or not, because sometimes that's very, very important. And there are various stages. In this stage, I have like two stages, right? I have customer, I have lead and customer. But typically, you're going to have a bunch of stages. You're going to have lead, you're going to have, prospect, you're going to have customer, client. There's going to be a lot of stages, so maybe like 5-6 stages. And it gets hard to keep track when you have a lot of them. And so the idea with CRM, it makes things easier. Now, typically with CRMs is that they are built to do everything, right? They're built for working with all kinds of customers. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to create a CRM for very specific types of people. So like CRM for lawyers, CRM for doctors, CRM for freelancers, for programmers, right, who are looking for projects. You're going to do a CRM for a specific profession. That's what you're going to do. And that way you can tailor your offering to a specific market, which is going to be a lot more powerful. Your message, your offering is going to be a lot more powerful, as opposed to if you're just building another generic CRM out there. That's kind of what you're going to be doing. CRM is very, very profitable because you're selling it to businesses, essentially, to businesses that are going to make more money with your software than without your software. So they're going to be incentivized to actually use this software. And that you can build with Bubble, you can build with Adalo, you can build with Appgyver. I would probably recommend starting with Bubble or Appgyver, simply because this is not like a true mobile app. It might have a mobile client sometime down the road, but initially, you want to just build it out as an MVP. So I would just recommend using something like Bubble or Appgyver. Number 5 is going to be a time tracking app. What is a time tracking app? Well, a time tracking app is actually very, very simple. I have an app that tracks different pieces or different segments or chunks of my work. So let's say, I sit down and I start recording this video, right? So let's say it's 5 p.m. From 5 to 6 p.m., I'm recording my video. Now, if I'm recording the video for myself, then it's not that important to track. But let's say I'm working on a project for somebody. I'm actually doing this video for another party and they're going to pay me for it. It's not my own YouTube channel. It could be not even YouTube at all. It could be maybe for, their own classroom or their own kind of e-school, online school or something like that. So what time tracking allows me to do is it allows me to track my time, and that way I can build accordingly, right? So for instance, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., I'm recording a video. From 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., I am editing the video, right? I'm adding special effects. And let's say from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., I'm doing graphics. motion graphics, right? Animation, stuff like that, motion graphics for this video. So I'm adding like special effects, animations, all kinds of cool stuff. And then maybe at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., I'm writing graphics for it, like a thumbnail or a brochure or icon, stuff like that. I'm doing graphic design. And so that way I can easily track where my time goes and how much time I'm spending, I'm dedicating to each task. So in this case, I have 4 hours. Okay, and that way I know exactly. So if I'm charging $100 an hour, that's $400 in this example, right? Depending on your rate. But that way it allows me to easily track what's happening. And that means I'm very accountable. I keep track of everything. I can show to the customer or the client and say, look, I spent 4 hours working on this video. You owe me $400, right? If the rate is $100. Now, with time tracking apps, they are typically kind of created for all kinds of niches, all kinds of markets. We're not going to do that. You should be seeing a pattern by now. We're going to choose a certain niche to do it in. This could be for programmers, for freelancers, digital marketers. It could be another area. We're going to pick a very specific niche. And that way we can create an offering to that niche, and that's going to be easier to get customers, okay? Instead of creating like a general tool for everybody, when you please everybody, you eventually please nobody, right? So you want to pick a specific offering, you want to pick a specific niche, and that will allow you to make a lot more money and get a lot more customers. Number 6 is going to be a forum, okay? So what exactly is a forum? If you're not familiar with what a forum is a place where you can discuss various things, okay? So there's lots of money to be made with forums. And essentially a forum is like, we have topics. In each topic has various threads or posts. So it's the same thing, post 1, and let's say we have another one, post 2, post 3, and let's make this a little bit bigger, something like that, right? And that's all connected, right? It has a relationship, right? There you go. There you go. And the idea here is that we're going to create a forum. There's lots of ways of making money with forums. One is you can create a forum for yourself, okay? You can do that for your own product, your own services. Another thing, and I think this is a lot more lucrative, is that you can create forums for specific niches and then make it as a SaaS, okay? So I can create a forum for, let's say, graphic designers or programmers or professionals, and I can essentially rent out the software. So once I create it, people can use the forum, they can customize it, and they can use it to however they see fit. That is really the main business model when it comes to forums. Forums are very, very easy to do. You can do it in Bubble in like a couple of days, really. And they're very, very easy to market because everybody wants to build a community. Everybody wants to have a lot of people that like their product, that are talking about their product. You can put ads on forums. You could charge a monthly rate for forums. There's all kinds of ways of doing it. And the strategy that I would recommend is creating generic software for forums using a tool like Bubble, and that could be customized by the customer, which is very, very easy to do. You just don't customize it yourself. You allow the customer to customize it by you creating different screens where they can, for settings, customizations, they can customize it. And then you're going to serve this software and you're going to charge a monthly rate for this software. So that's a nice software as a service idea for you to implement. The next 3 ideas are going to be mostly mobile first, okay? And that is because the ideas I'm about to show you, yes, they could be implemented as a web app or a desktop app, but they're going to be a lot better to be implemented in a mobile first fashion using a tool such as Adalo. The first one is an appointment app, okay? We're going to be building a way that customers can create appointments for businesses. So for instance, if somebody has a barber shop, okay, and a customer, a person wants to go get a haircut, they can use an app that will allow them to look at a calendar and see all the available time slots and pick a time slot that is most convenient for them and reserve that time slot. That is how things work nowadays for barbers, for various professionals. And here you're going to be using Adalo, and you're going to create an appointment system in a specific niche. This could be for barbers, this could be for car mechanics, this could be for pretty much anybody, right? Business, lawyers, virtual programmers. It could be a way for you to consult. So if you're selling consulting services where somebody can reserve 30 minutes of your time or 1 hour of your time or even 10-minute blocks of your time, they can use an app to essentially pay for it, and they will be given a time slot. So there's all kinds of ways of doing it. And really the way it works is that you have a customer and then you have a business. Okay, you have a business. And that business sells a service. Okay, now you cannot get this person to come to your house. You're not driving them. You're not monetizing their asset. You're coming to there. You're coming there. You're coming to the business. And what you're doing is you are coming here and you are seeing what time slot they have available. The business doesn't even know you exist, right? It all starts for a customer, which is very, very different to how Airbnb works or how Uber works. Here, a customer initiates the transaction, and the business, the business doesn't even need to do anything. It doesn't need to drive anywhere. It doesn't need to do. It's all automatic. Now, when the appointment has been created, that is when you have the second stage of the whole thing, and we're not doing that. We're only doing appointments. And then once the appointment has been done, the business is going to render their services to the customer, and that's going to be taken care of in a different way or the way you want to. But that is not important. The important thing is actually creating the appointment. So in this case, we have a two-way communication. We have a customer that goes to the business's website or their app, sees their available dates, picks a date, and then we get a response. If that date is available, then the business is confirmed, and then the customer can show up and get the service that they set up the appointment for. The next mobile-first idea is building a travel app. Now, this is probably an idea that you should implement first because it's one of the simplest ideas that we have here. And this is a good project to kind of build your experience with. It's a good project to get your feet wet, especially if you don't have much experience when it comes to NoCode. And we're going to be using Adalo for this as well. So the idea is that we're going to have an app. So for instance, let's say we have this thing here. This is the first screen. We have a list, and here we have a detail view, right? So let's come in here. Let's make it a little bit larger. And here we have a detail view, okay? And the idea is that we're going to have a list of cities, a list of countries. And once you click on that, you're going to learn more about it. So this could be on a country specific. So let's say the United States, you're going to have like maybe 10 largest cities by visitors, by tourists every year, right? Tourist cities, right? So like New York, LA, Chicago, Las Vegas, Miami, places like that. You're going to have a list here, and then when they click on the list, they're going to have a detailed picture, all kinds of information about the city, the rating, the weather, the safety rating, stuff like that, activities, what can you do, right? The population of the city. And essentially, you're creating an app for tourism, for tourist purposes, okay? Now, like I said, we can focus on a specific country. We can focus on the entire world. We can focus on a certain type of tourism, maybe like action tourism. Maybe you like, cooking tourism, right? You want to go to a country and you want to learn how to cook, take cooking classes. Maybe this is going to be something else. What I recommend is picking Adalo, going with Adalo, and picking a specific niche. So maybe you want, horseback riding, or cooking classes, or yoga classes, some kind of that tourism, right? And that's going to give you ideas. So let's say you want to do like yoga, right? You can have, places around the world that are kind of known for yoga. So maybe like Bali, maybe like another city that's kind of known for yoga, stuff like that. And then you can click on the list and you can kind of learn more about the destination. You can even book your tour, your service right inside the app. And this is a good idea because you're focusing on a specific niche, and you can even make money with it, right? Because if you have various service providers here, you can take a commission. They can give you a commission if people book with that service with you, right? So we're not talking about a general travel app. You can do that too if you want. We're talking about a specific travel app with a specific idea in mind, okay? And you can pick the niche that you want. But regardless of what niche you pick, this is a good area to start with because it's one of the simplest apps to build, and it's going to give you that much needed experience to build more complicated apps later on. Last but not least, for number 9, we're going to be building a dating app. But we're not going to be building just any kind of dating app. We're going to be focusing on a specific type of niche, on a specific type of area, because let's face it, dating apps are very, very saturated right now. Everybody's building dating apps. There's lots of popular dating apps. What you want to do is you want to pick a specific niche. This could be specific to a country. This could be specific to a city. This could be specific to an interest. This could be specific to the types of people, right? Depending on, what kind of people, what kind of interests people have. So there's lots and lots of different ways to do it. Now, when we think about dating, all it is it's a marketplace between, one type of person, maybe a male wants to date females, or female wants to date males, or any kind of, it could be just general. It could be in a specific country, in a specific city, or it could be different kinds of people, right? Because there are people with all kinds of, interests, all kinds of, preferences out there, right? That's what you got to keep in mind. But in a nutshell, you have a market, right? So you have, let's say, person A wants to date, person B. Or more concretely, this is a person of a specific kind of interest, of a specific a person that pertains to this group, and a person that pertains to this group. Okay, so this could be anybody. Use your imagination. It's a big world out there, and people like people have different preferences, different interests, and that's what we're doing. And what we're doing is we're matching these types of people to these types of people. That's all we're doing. That's all what apps like Tinder do and other apps out there. That's all they're doing. But the advantage here, the opportunity here, is going for a very, very specific niche. Like I said, geographical. It could be a hobby-based, be an interest-based. It could be, it could be all kinds of interesting things, and that's really up to you, right? There's lots and lots of ways to kind of slice it. You just have to pick the kind of niche that you want to go to. Now, with this specific app, I would be using Adalo, and I actually have a video on my channel where I build a Tinder clone using Adalo. So if you're wondering if you can build a Tinder clone using Adalo, definitely check out my video on the channel. You can simply search my channel for like Tinder or Tinder clone, and you're gonna have a whole tutorial on how to build a dating app. And that tutorial is going to be useful to you not only if you want to build a dating app, but if you want to build all kinds of different apps, the ideas there, the thought process, because it's kind of tricky to build those complicated apps using Adalo. But thankfully, I show you exactly how you can do it. And so that wraps up of our list of top 9 profitable and easy app ideas to build using NoCode. So let me know what you think about this list, and let me know in the comments below which one of these ideas did you like the best. Let me know which one kind of caught your attention, and I will help you out if you have any questions or concerns. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a fat like, leave a comment below, let me know what you thought, and also subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss any future no-code tips and tutorials. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.